What is happening? Good morning, everybody. It is the Dirty South podcast. Uh, cool week. And here we are again. I know last week we did our final episode of the four classes of kind of teams that never really get to hear about themselves from the public. So we
And
spoke a lot about some of that stuff, and that was fun.
I should point out that your friend Anthony Cirillo pointed out that Miami Palmetto actually finished in the top 10 last year.
Oh, did
So
they really?
I shouldn't have talked about them. So
But you
Ah,
had two. You
I had
had
two. So
two.
I told him I just went with Miami High.
There
So
you
that
go.
was I figured I'd bring it up
oh,
first. If anybody else was like, "Hey, you
Good catch,
messing up,"
coach. You know what? Brand will
good
send
catch,
you a
coach.
sticker and you'll be good
Yep.
to go.
Hmm.
you proved me wrong.
All
I
right.
finished
So
fourth.
so you know what, guys? Looking around, there is tons of stuff going on. I think what a couple days ago, girls started their season as far as
Yes, on
practice
the
goes.
third.
So it's super good to see that. Give everybody context who's watching this in the state of Florida, but doesn't know necessarily the rest of the Southeast. This coming weekend, Georgia will kick things off with their first
Wow.
events. Alabama will be right behind them. I think they might have a kickoff classic this weekend, then their actual season starts the following weekend. Florida is starting to get into gear. And you know what? The college kids, man, they hit the mat this past weekend. Daniel,
Everywhere.
I've got to ask. I've got to ask about Daniel first. He went out and wrestled what up in Wisconsin?
Up in Wisconsin had a pointer open. He went 1-2. Uh, First win was a really good win. He came out of the gates. He was down big and came all the way back. Pretty good win. He was wrestling a kid that's in Division 2, as you know, opens is kind of a mock pot of
Yeah.
everybody. The next match, he hurt his knee in that first match, and then the second match he went out and wrestled and lost. Really tough wrestler that kind of transitioned from D1 over to Aurora, which is a good college down there in Illinois. Tough kid too. And then the last match, just he really couldn't get off that knee, so he got beat. But he's come a long way. He has progressed. He was no longer wrestling in the freshman sophomore division. As if anybody knows, they usually go silver and gold. So it was his first time really getting to step up and go in the gold competition. So it was fun. But if anybody's following North Central College and thinking about a program, they had 26 boys place and 22 girls place. They had numerous champions. And the boys are in the top 10 right now. The girls are three. So um, they had a good push there. If anybody knows Chippy, a Florida boy, came in and won his bracket. And then a Florida girl, Haley Haley Peck, who came in second in her bracket. So good turnout for a couple of Florida kids there. So
Well,
um,
and Chippy's actually a great person to have this conversation about today, but I don't want to get to it quite yet about what I mean. Obviously, you've read the title of what we're talking about down below, so you know we're eventually going to get
Well,
to talking
assuming
about.
assuming Dan got the title right, we don't know what he named it.
That's true. That's true. Dan
We're
hasn't said the title
assuming
yet.
that the title is going to tell the story of what we're going to talk
Eventually,
about.
we will get to talking about different individuals who have yet to win a state title and might win a state title this coming year. And for those of you that don't know, and because Daniel brought him up, even though I want to go further into some college kids, is Chippy has been to the Division 3 finals three
two
times,
two
two
times in
times,
the finals. One time he took
third.
third.
That's
Yep.
right. So, and he is entering his senior year with an opportunity to claim his first D3 title, which I'm
Yes,
sure
which would
he's
be
ready to go.
awesome. Be awesome. And as people know, he won the state title his freshman year. Didn't win another one, but went off to college and look what he's done.
Yeah. So one of the things that this conversation actually always gets me to talk about is that nothing's guaranteed. There is
Yeah.
nothing about the sport that tells you like this is the way this is going to play out. We can put our thoughts down about who we think about this, or you've got a Peter Mako or Michael Mako in the bracket, you've got a Fox Baldwin in the bracket, you got this kid, you got that kid, all these sorts of things. But wrestling's wrestling, and you just never know what's going to actually happen. So Before we get to that, I want to make sure that we give a shout out to Claire Bowie, who went up to the Princeton Open and won for the first time for Army West Point. Yeah,
Also, Val Solario won her open match,
yeah.
and she came in unranked in the country, and now she's number 2 in the country.
There
So,
was some others that wrestled
another
exceptionally well.
another one. Yeah, we had girls all over the
We
place.
had girls all over, right?
Girls over,
It
but
was just
Val
a big
Solario and Claire Bowie did
It was a
win.
big one for Bowie because they're really trying to build the women's program at West Point, and the fact that she went to the Princeton Open and won at 117 was a big deal for them. Um, and then you know what? I want to take just a second and give a shout out to Southeastern down there in the middle of Florida, who went up to the Pepsi Open and won. They brought a ton of kids. Man, they wrestled exceptionally well, both in the freshman and sophomore division, as well as the open division. You had Florida boys, Brandon Abden, who went up, now wrestling at Ryder, wrestled exceptionally well. You had just so many different individuals competing in college all over the place.
It was fun to watch. Kaiser had some kids that did really
Kaiser had some
well.
kids. Yeah.
He's doing a good job there. Um, but yeah, we saw Florida kids. But what was really impressive, I mean, we saw a lot of boys, but to see the girls, I think, and Brant loves to follow the girls, being a girl dad. He's passionate about that subject. But to see all the girls that we have followed over the years now, we saw just so many of them competing for Grandview and Bruton Parker and Lindsey Wilson, and I can keep going. Life,
Hmm.
and they were all out there. Obviously, Iowa and Army, and so yeah, shout out to all of them. It was fun to see Florida sprinkled all over, and I'm sure for you, Jason,
Well, and it was the entire
as the dirty
Southeast. Yeah.
South, the entire
Yeah.
Southeast being sprinkled all around. So good time.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is we could just do a show weekly on college Florida kids that had success this week, right?
Well, and I think ultimately when we get into the season, we will talk a little bit more about some of the things like this. We'll spend some time talking about different events and things along those lines. So
Yep.
we'll be a little more organized than we were with this situation, but
Yeah.
this is really just a prelude to talking about the subject at hand, or for today. Again, before I get to that, very quickly, Brandt's previews drop what, 5 days from
Oh
now?
my God. Yeah. Monday. Monday the 10th. We're hoping.
Monday. So again, here, listen to us.
That's the due date.
We are going to talk about kids that have been in high school for
I thought he was going to give me more
for
promo.
years, for years, for years. This is Brant Parson. He's got the history here. That have been for years in here that have not won a state title yet, that could possibly do that this year. This is not our picks on who is going to win the state title. We are not talking about that. That's a totally different show. These are just people that we have followed, that the wrestling community have followed, that have been in high school a while, and we think finally may be in a good position to make a run.
All right, you see that, guys? The messaging that Brant and I have been giving Daniel for the last 2 days is sinking in.
It is. We had to work on wording.
Yes.
We
I
had
hope. I hope. No, you don't
we
hope.
can't hope that.
No.
No, I mean, to be honest, I'm the one that came up with this topic, and as I'm working on the state preview, which you were nice enough to promote there, it is coming out. It's got a capsule for every team in Florida. A name stuck out to me, and it was Jonathan Motor, who has been in the state finals the last 4 years. He has not shied away from sometimes the best wrestler in the entire state in their classification.
That's right.
He's not gone to a different weight to take an easy way out to get that win. He's battled against some of the best wrestlers Florida has had, and it reminds me a little bit of Tal Shahar and kind of how he did it until his senior year. And I realized that Motor was going to be a senior this year, and he had 4 second place finishes, and it stuck out to me. And I presented you guys with the idea or the topic to kind of look through and come up with some guys and girls that have been close. And some of them I'll tell you I'll probably predict the win. Some of them I might not. But just want to talk about some of the kids that could uh, certainly have tasted it and could finish the year with that state title. And
Yeah,
not necessarily
so
all seniors, but just wrestlers who have had
right.
some successes, but haven't got the biggest success yet.
So at the end of at the end of the night, there will be 54 individuals who will have claimed a state title. Is that right?
50.
Isn't that right?
No,
56? 56.
56.
56 individuals that will have claimed the state title.
I thought that
There
was
will
your
be
big news that we didn't know. There are different number of weight classes.
I'm sorry?
Nothing.
We thought that was your big news.
No.
You're gonna shock us with.
There are
56
individuals.
champs.
I'm not going to shock you by anything. There are individuals who will walk away without a state title, and one of the reasons I like this conversation is that Jonathan Motor became the first individual in the state of Florida to finish second 4 times.
Yes.
4 times. Okay. Previously, as far as I know, and people can correct me if I am wrong, there have been 7 3-time runner-ups. 2 of them have been 5-time placers with 3 runners-up, but they were never able to kind of get over the hump and win a state title. And
so none of those ended up winning a title. That's the best.
None of those ended up winning a title.
I think one of them is at the Colorado Mines.
Who is that?
He lost to Tal Shahar his final year. His little brother won it in his last year at Jesuit.
Who?
Come on.
No, I don't have that person down.
His dad was on Team Florida.
He won. He. Now, what I'm going to talk about is there's only 3. That these were the 7 I'm talking about. All were 3-time runners up. It's not that they never won a state title. They were
3 times.
They lost in the finals 3 times. Daniel's going to have to look that up and tell me who it is. Anyway,
because I know that I'm making sure before I say the name out loud.
Okay.
Because I don't want to.
Well, and actually, this gives me an opportunity to tell you guys that I have a database built. But if Daniel Ward and Dan Ward and Daniel D. Ward are all in this database, I might not have the exact right name or number of individuals who have been there 3 times. So
there are sometimes in the I know the book you're speaking of where names are changed or misspelled from year to year, and sometimes that does hurt in search.
Well, and you have to go through it and cull it and try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel? And I think Brandon Cody won it his last year, but I thought he made the finals a few times before that. Did he not?
Well, again, I don't know, but he wasn't. He was 4th in 2021. He was 2nd in 2022. He was 2nd in 2023, and he won it in 2024.
His brother never won it, but I thought his brother was 2nd 3 times.
I don't know, but you know what? I will share some of this information of these 7 individuals just to give you guys context as we go through this. I don't want to take a bunch of time right now to talk about them. Okay. We started with Jonathan Motor.
Sorry, I was looking it up because I know Ryan Cody was in the finals a few times and didn't win it. But Brandon Cody, I know, was in the finals a few times and then finally won it. So before I said their names, I love the family dearly.
So according to my data, is that Ryan Cody was in the finals once, finished 2nd in 2021, and took 3rd once.
Okay, I know he placed a bunch of times, but yeah. Okay, so they were names I was thinking of.
So, Brant, let's go to Jonathan Motor. That was the impetus for this conversation. He, like you said, he's not shied away from the best competition around. And we say we never want to hope anybody wins or anything along those lines, and we don't pick favorites and that sort of thing. But, you do feel for for individuals who get to this moment over and over and over again, and then it doesn't happen. So, what is it about Jonathan Motor as you're looking ahead? You've got rankings and all the different things. I don't want you to give me a percentage or anything along those lines, but tell me a little bit about kind of Jonathan's path this year.
I do have rankings, and the other thing is, as I'm pulling them up and stalling for time, is he's been wrestling at First Baptist. That has kind of all splintered out, and he has moved on. And I'm trying to pull up where I have him here. He's at St. John Newman now.
Mm-hmm.
He is
So he won't get Lincoln.
He is projected to be at 150. 150 as of now, based on what coaches have told me, and I've not heard from every coach. His most pressing competition could be Wyatt Krauser of Cocoa Beach, who was a state finalist last year. I know Chris Kelly is a huge fan of his real leader on that team. Mason Odell at Matter Lakes, who was a state champ 3 years ago, I believe, as an eighth grader. And those are the two main ones. There's also trying to see who else. Jason Chiavello of Clearwater Central Catholic.
CCC, yeah.
Jack Molnix from North Bay Haven. Those are ones that I've been told are in 150. I don't know if Jacob Reber will be there, but it does on paper at this point present itself as I think he's a pretty solid favorite in there. You do at 44, in case any of those guys were to move up. Adrian Day, Bruce Lee, 38. Of course, Lincoln, he would not wrestle. Boda's at 38 right now. Could see some movement there, but I don't think they come up to 50. And in 57, there's no one that would come down. So I think,
that's the path.
If he stays healthy, does what he's supposed to do, which he's always been able to do, I would put him as heading into here as one of my favorites to be a state title. It still all has to happen. Everything has to work out. But there's not the big giant waiting for him in his weight class as of now that I see. And I don't see one coming after him.
Daniel, who is another person across the state that popped into your head when we threw this out and said, who is somebody who has not won a state title that you think might win a state title? That just like it came into your head.
Gary Mendez.
All right.
Gary Mendez is at the Mater Academy. He was in the finals against RJ Phelan. Great match. RJ took that one. But he's been gradually progressing every year. He's in a tough room. He's got some new drill partners that are really pushing him the last couple of years. The addition of the young Balmaceda in there, working with him is huge. And I think that he has an opportunity. Now, listen, you have the returning state champ. If the Cabra rankings are correct, based on these weights, 113 pounds, he's surrounded by Phelan, Lido, Austin, Haluko, Obstaculo. I mean, Rhodes, Sand. I mean, it's definitely a loaded weight at 113. A lot of tough kids there. But as we're saying, we're speaking about people that have been around a while, that we think could finally pull it off. And that would be one of them.
Very cool.
In my opinion. What do you think, Brant?
I'm really shocked you didn't go with this one, because this is one you mentioned last week when I brought it up. And Nick
yes,
Blake,
but I left it for you.
At Hagerty. Thank you.
I purposely left it for you.
I appreciate that. You're so kind. It's already, as Mariah Carey would say, it's already the season. Nick Blake just and possibly another tough weight class again this year, but he's always same kind of thing with Jonathan Motor. He's just been, you get in those middle weights, you get some tough weight classes. Through his 3 years, he has been fourth, second, and third. This year, I have him coming into year 150, 157. At 150, you have state champion returning Armin Williams. At South Dade, you have Nathan Barrett, who's over at Harmony. You've got Massimo Pelicano of Venice is there. If you go up to 57, you got Jonathan Moreno, Didier Novoa, Thomas Campion. It's he's good enough to beat all of them. We saw how well he wrestled in the knockout last year. He can make it happen, and this is the year for him to do it. He's been so close
I agree.
each of his 3 years.
Well,
He's
and
a,
the thing that stood out to me as you were saying all those names, Brant, is that those are a bunch of other individuals, except for Armand Williams, who we could have on this list of have not won a state title yet, who are hunting their own. You know what I mean?
Yes. I mean,
yeah,
Campion is a sophomore, so we'll give him a little time.
Right.
Moreno, though, two-time placer, fifth and second. Barrett has been in the mix. He finished fifth last year, fifth the year before, state qualifier year before that. So yeah, there's a lot of guys hunting for that very valuable prize.
No
yeah.
doubt.
Nick is somebody that when he's on, and he is a tough out. I mean, the only out that got to him at the knockout was the kid that was like undefeated in high school and number
Yes.
2 in the country, and just was
Well,
unbelievable.
and
But
Nick's had a couple of those. He had Drew Gorman 2 years ago. And
Yeah.
He had what Nininger, was it Nininger last year? So yeah.
yeah, just manager.
All right. So before we move to another person, I'm going to go ahead and throw out a couple names. Willie Twiggs, Titusville, 1982, 83, 84, 98, 105, and 112 was a 3-time runner-up
Wow.
for Titusville. Sam Gonite for Suncoast High School in 2004, 2005, and 2006 at 103, 103, and 112. He was a 3-time runner-up. And then the last one in this section is Leon Harrington, who was a heavyweight. And for Cardinal Gibbons, he was in 02, 03, and 04. He was the runner-up for Cardinal Gibbons at heavyweight, losing his first two in 02 and 03 to Shane Hand from Zephyr Hills. And man, losing back-to-back to the same person in the state finals.
I was
That's got to
wondering
be
if
a
that was
tough
gonna
one,
be
man. That's a tough
be
one to
something there.
swallow. As we pivot to a few more names for this coming year, the thing that stood out to me, you guys mentioned, obviously we've got Motor, we've got Blake, we've got Mendez, but there's a crew down at Tampa Jesuit that they have yet to win an individual title, and there's quite a few names on that list. Dan, you want to take one of them?
Well, I think the one we're all thinking about that comes off the top of my head is a Reed Yakes. I think we've seen him have some really, really good years, but just not cap them off at the end. And I think coming into this year, I know I've talked to Mason. I know Reed was injured, and he's back healthy, and he's starting to get back in that room and look good. I know that's one of them. I mean, we could talk about the
Brant?
other one if you'd like, Brant.
Yeah, I mean, KJ Vasquez, junior now, 2 seasons. He's finished second. Again, just in those weights where he's not moved away from wrestling a top guy. Right now, I have him at 65 in 2A with no other state placers even returning in the weight class. Some state qualifiers, but I know he battled through a knee injury one of those years.
Yeah.
But just one of those heralded freshmen when he came in, and now looking to finally get that top spot. But it certainly hasn't. He certainly hasn't tried to take the easy way.
Yeah.
As it's time there.
So, and I think one of the other ones would be Mason Basil. And,
Yeah.
and Basil he was out last year, hurt, but we're talking about, Jesuit really has 3 individuals who have yet to win, and they might have more than that. I'm just going to say these 3, who have been on the cusp. They've been on the podium, they've been there. It just hasn't quite happened. And I'll tell you what, from a team perspective, if those 3 come through for Jesuit, that will be huge.
Yes, I'm curious. I have all my input into my little formula, but I have not checked to see who my top teams will be going into the season.
Is that next week's show?
Next week's show will be right after the preview comes out, so I don't know what we'll want to talk about. We can do teams, but it'll be in my preview. my preseason team rankings will come out Tuesday along with my preview, and I don't know who the top team in 2A is going to be yet. I'm kind of saving that. I haven't even hit the button to
He
compute it yet.
hasn't even looked. He
I
can't
haven't
even.
looked.
There
I
you go.
put all the info in, and I haven't looked. I mean, I
All
could do
right,
that
so let's
now, but
now
I'm not going to.
let's take a break from the boys for a second and flip over to the girls.
Yes,
We're what in year 5? Is this our 5th year?
fifth
For
fifth
the
year.
for the girls. So there hasn't been quite as many as far as been on the podium or close. But I mean, for me, I'm thinking back, Gabby Tedesco years ago losing to Val Solorio and then finally winning her state title and those sorts of things. Brant, can you give me a girl who kind of fits this mold that we're talking about?
I mean, the first. I mean, I've got a list. The first one that came to mind for me was Kira Partello
Hmm.
at Baron Collier, and just a tremendous athlete. Um, believe she also runs. I could be wrong on that, but fourth, and second, in 100 pounds. That is just that weight class is so crazy how tough it is.
It
Um,
is.
but she's come in. She's won 3 region titles. She just can't get over the hump in state. This year she's moved up to well, I have her at 105. I don't have that confirmed, but I mean even then you have Jocelyn Johnson there. You got Haniel Grigori, um, Grace Jowulski. I mean it doesn't get any easier, but she's been traveling. She was at Fargo. She's gone to Super 32. We've seen her all over the summer working. Um,
I mean, I got to tell you, Brett, your top 10 at that weight, it wouldn't surprise me if any one of those top 10
yeah,
won it at the end of the year. That's how good that top 10 are.
yeah. And
Yeah,
100
105.
and 100 and
Yeah.
105
Mhm.
are
Yep.
both just so deep.
All right, Dan. How about you? You have a young lady that kind of fits the mold as well.
Yes. One that I would say would be Sophie Bowie.
Okay.
She's been in the mix for many years now. I
Mhm.
can't believe it feels like yesterday she was just a little thing wrestling behind her sister. And now she's a senior. She's going into a weight again that has the top 10 girls there. Any one of them could show up and be on top. And but she's just a young lady. When we talk about someone that's been around the sport a long time that just hasn't pulled it off
Mhm.
yet, that would be a cool thing to see. I think Sophie
Well, and,
Bowie's
and the
one.
thing with Sophie is that for so many years she was so
She
small
was tiny.
for even the smallest weight class. So
Yeah.
she was out there battling and battling and battling. And I'm sorry, Gabby. Gabby was a big 100 pounder, a big 105 pounder. She was so the fact that Bowie was battling back in seventh grade and eighth grade,
Yeah.
you have a lot of respect for the fact that going out there and battling like that. Brant.
Seven, fifth, and fourth are. I just want to because as I was seeing those finishes, Catalina Kenny Vieira finished eighth, sixth, and fourth. And I was talking to Jason Custer, her coach, and he said, "We better not get second." He goes, "That's a neat thing, eighth, sixth, fourth, but we're expecting a state title this year, not second." But wanted to point that. I mean, she's one of the 3 girls that have kind of been the basic basis for what Vieira has built as a girls program, and does not have that state's title. Emma Hoppy won the first one for the school last year.
Yeah. And I mean, do you have a girl, Jason?
So actually, I'm going to switch back to some history real quick, and then
Ooh,
then I'm
I
going to
like
break back in the girls for a second.
Professor.
All
I
right.
like history.
So the first individual I'm going to talk about is Jacob Bradley. Jacob Bradley, the reason I remember Jacob Bradley is because I was coaching back then. He was second in 99 at 112 for Winter Haven, moved over to Lake Region, was second at 125 in 2000, and was second at 130 in 2001. He was second in 2001 to an eventual 3-time state champion in Cornelius Wiggins. And Wiggins beat one of my wrestlers in the finals in 2002. So, it's kind of one of those things, a kid that you kind of saw all the time. This conversation was being had about, is he going to win a state title this year? That sort of thing. Well, Jacob ended up as a three-time runner-up. And then the last one I'm going to talk about in this one is Chris Kramer, way back, 1980s, Pinellas Park, 1981. He was 98 pounds. 82, he was 105, and 83, he was the runner-up at 119 pounds. I believe he was the runner-up to a monster by the name of Brian Skelton from Manatee High School, and yeah, man, it's one of those situations. Back then, for those people who didn't know, there were two classifications in the state of Florida. The level of wrestling, in my opinion, has gotten so much better than it was back then, just technique wise and everything else. Um, but there's a lot more kids and that sort of thing. But put it in a meat grinder, man, and you find some tough kids no matter where you go, and you compete. So,
Yeah. I mean,
um,
one name that come, and you may talk about this gentleman, but a name that comes off the top of my head that never pulled off a state tournament, but went on to be a two or three-time All-American is De Agostino.
yeah,
He's
yep.
a young man, right? That you probably have his place in. We'll probably hear about that later on in the history books.
Well, he wasn't a
He
three-time
wasn't a
runner-up,
yeah.
so that's the reason. That's what I'm focusing on. But you're absolutely right, and I think that that's super important because I mean, winning a state title is an outstanding accomplishment. Everybody who does so should be very proud of that accomplishment. But it doesn't necessarily mean future success. It doesn't necessarily mean if you didn't win a state title, you're not going to go on because I'll tell you what, I mean, there are a few better from the state of Florida who have done it at the next level than Michael D'Agostino. So keep that in mind. For those of you that you come up a little short, but you still have goals in front of you, there's nothing stopping you. You can totally continue on and make that happen. All right.
Yeah.
So let's now shift back to some boys. And there's still a few names out there that I think that we all populated on our lists. Brant, why don't we go to you first? Who do you have next?
I'm gonna go with Jackson Newton out of Charlotte. 2 straight years he has been state finalist. He lost to Ryder Luck
Yeah.
in 24 last year. He lost to Seth Shimas from North Fort Myers. Actually lost to him 3 times in the postseason last year. Kid that had a great talk with him and his dad at the Ale House after he had reached the finals the first time and proved me wrong. He had snuck up on me that year, did not sneak up on me last year. Just a talented kid, a real athletic heavyweight. Not going to be an easy walk with Blake Elder, Jensen Beach, one of the guys in his weight class this year, and Blake has been wrestling everywhere this summer and working hard. But Jackson comes into the year, wrestling at that machine in Charlotte, and certainly should be considered a favorite to win a senior state title his senior year.
Yeah. Well, and he's been a two-time runner-up. So
2 times.
Let's not make this list that I'm reading off in the
Oh.
future.
Yes.
All right, Daniel, you got a name for us?
Yeah. I'm trying to stay. There are names on Brant's
You can take them. I was told
list
to just
A.
pick
He was on
5
list
that
A.
I liked.
On his list A. So I'm going to go to his list B, which I had some names from his list B on mine too. And one of them I had on there is a junior over at Haggerty, which is Hunter Jesse. I think
Okay.
we've seen him. I believe we've seen him in the finals once, placing another couple of times. He's in, according to the great Cabra rankings, he is sitting at 138 and right behind a guy that's pretty good in Ilya Kirianenko and Stefano Garcia. But he is a young man that is tough. He's been working hard. He hasn't pulled it off yet. He's a junior, and that's what this show's about: choosing somebody that we think has an
Has a real shot.
opportunity
Yeah.
to finally do something. And I like him to be in that conversation.
So I'm gonna, before we pivot to Brant, I'm gonna actually ask you to share a story that you shared with me in highlighting a individual who has been on the podium several times. His brother won a state title last year, And during your media days, the brother kind of said, "Hey, why don't we do this when we take a picture?"
Yeah. So of course I'm at the the alma mater of Brant Parsons, which finished out of the top 10 last year. And
Yeah. My apologies, Palmetto Nation.
and
Hail to thee.
and Connor, who is the state champ,
Bonnie, yeah.
Drake, who is not the state champ. Connor comes up and calls Drake, "Hey, let's take a picture like this." And obviously,
And he's got his ring.
he's got his state ring on it. So funny. Listen, one thing that's really awesome is
And Drake, just to point out, he's a state qualifier 3 times. He's placed sixth and he's placed third. And really last year, just lost the first round. And he would tell you it was probably his worst performance of the year. If that doesn't happen, he probably has a ring too from last year, but just couldn't get it going in that first round.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was fun. And it's been cool to be in that room all 4 years of their high school career. So I've gotten to do their media day since they were a freshman, and they're fun kids. They're fun kids to be around. They come from a great family. Their dad, as everyone knows, is a local ref in the area. It was a cool story. It was fun.
Very
That's
cool.
awesome.
But there's a kid that's on the list, right?
Yeah. Brothers Ribbon Brothers.
Yeah, no, of course they are. So as we move to, I want to talking about a few more girls, and I'm going to throw out a few names. You guys can just kind of pick one to talk a little bit more about. But Kailani Barrientos, I think she's been third twice. She's a Fargo All-American. Cameron Lord, Kendall Haney, who is going to be in a tough weight, Zoe Delgado. Not to mention a pair of 3-time state placers, Elena Rick, who sixth, third, and sixth, and Juliana Casey, sixth, fifth, and second. These are all individuals who.
It's amazing.
Yeah, they've been all over the podium. Every single name I mentioned.
And you bring up a name
podium.
like Zoe Delgado, which it feels like she's a senior already, and she's only a freshman. We've seen her in the state tournament several times already, and this year is probably her best chance with her not being in the Willow White weight class. She was trying to get closer and closer to Willow White, trying to chase her down last year, but I heard that name, and it's funny. I feel like I look and she's only a freshman. I feel like we've been watching her for.
Well, that's how I feel about Sophie Bowie. I mean, yeah. Brant, how did out of that group? Is there anybody you want to kind of talk about? Anybody that sticks out?
I'm going to bring up Juliana Case because she has Casey. She has three medals, and right now, she's in the same weight class as someone else you mentioned, Kailani Barrientos, who has 2 third-place finishes. Both of them, I'm sure, are trying to avoid 145 and Ailey Briggs. That should make it an interesting matchup between the two. Both girls have been out wrestling. Juliana's been wrestling everywhere. They both went to Fargo. We've seen Juliana at SummerSlam, at the Super 32 qualifier. I mean, these girls are working hard. They've got great coaching staffs around them. One of them could possibly get there first. The other wouldn't. They're both seniors. As of right now, without knowing anything else happening in the year, I mean, you have Gabriella, Sergi, Kelsey Marshka, Allison Blanco Cruz are all in that weight class. Don't know the brackets, but if they play out to the finals, that could be an interesting meeting.
Yeah,
between
man,
girls looking for that first one.
Yeah, and that's tough, right? Because it's just one of those situations where, especially two individuals who come in and they kind of move and hit each other in that finals, and neither one of us won a state title before. That would be a story to tell.
It's looking way ahead, but
yeah, way ahead.
But it is a possibility.
So real quick before we again move on, I want to dip back in time, and I actually have a question for everyone, especially the Brandon people out there, and that is, in 1992 and 1993, there's a young man by the name of Daryl Tabor who took second twice, 92 and 93. Okay, and the reason I bring this up is because in my in my um, data set, I have Daryl Tabor as a three-time runner-up. Okay. So I'm like, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Come to find out, 92, 93, Daryl Tabor, Brandon High School. And then 2021 and 2022, there was a Daryl Tabor for Brandon High School, one of which I think lost to Andrew Austin in 2022 in the finals at 126 pounds. So is that
I'm guessing that's a
family?
junior. I would imagine that's a
Yeah, I mean,
junior.
and as state runners up, but never won a state
Wow.
title. I don't know if that's happened before. That would be something that would be interesting. All right, so I'm gonna give you one more, and then we're gonna talk about the last person and the one um a name that probably for those of you who know Florida wrestling pretty well, Keith Koziel from Brandon High School, was a three-time state runner-up, a five-time placer.
Wow.
He was second at 103 from Northport in 2003, second in 2004 at 112 to Sean Joyce when Koziel was wrestling at Venice. He also was fifth the following year at Venice, and then he moved over to Brandon, right? And in 2006, he was third at 152, and in 2007, he had beaten a gentleman by the name of Patrick Spano the weekend before at regionals.
Spano's tough. He's got a jujitsu gym now down on the west coast of Florida. Man,
And
he's really he
and
was coaching.
Spano said I wasn't going to lose that finals match, and he beat Koziel 4-3 in the finals after Koziel had owned him the previous year and beat him the weekend before. And Spano won the state title, putting Koziel as a three-time runner-up, third and
And,
fifth.
and put some life into that awful building in Lakeland.
It was an awful building.
But it was loud that night when that happened. That was a
Do you remember that?
I do. I don't remember the exact details, but I do remember the win and the crowd and how loud it got. It got
Yeah.
loud anytime Brandon lost in the final.
Yeah.
But I do remember that one.
All right, so let's move to. There are a few more names that that are out there. Definitely, I want to make sure that we say this before we get to the very end, and that is, we're not going to mention everyone. I mean, just don't. If you guys are like wondering if this person is going to be mentioned or not, it's just one of those things. It's kind of what we ran across. It's what piqued our interest. It's what we saw. So,
I mean,
Brant,
I have a list of 7 wrestlers, 2-time placers, 3-time state qualifiers we're not talking about.
right.
I've got a list of 5 or 6 2-timers that we're not going to talk about. So we can't get to everyone. But I'm going to let Dan go first because I want to make
Okay.
sure I get a couple of these out. And if he doesn't take them, then I'll briefly mention them.
All right, Dan, can you give me
Okay,
a
I
name?
got one. I got one that I am going to say right now, and I am going to say down at Southwest Miami, a senior coming in, Didier Novoa.
Mm-hmm.
He placed
Um,
4th last year. It's the only
plays
time he's been to state.
He's a senior. He's a tough kid. He's obviously surrounded by, I guess, looking at all these 3A weight classes, it doesn't seem to be an easy run in any of these brackets. He's surrounded by Moreno, Campion, Thompson, Falima. But Didier Novoa's in a great room, great partners, coached well, and he is a senior. So once again, we're trying to speak of children that we believe uh, are later in their high school career and could pull it off. And Didier Novoa is one of those kids.
So before you go, Brand, I want to
Yes.
make sure that I mention Jasper Kroom, and the only reason I wanted
Yes.
to mention Jasper Kroom is because um, he was fifth twice. I believe he didn't wrestle one of the years in high school. But if there is an individual that has looked like he is going to win a state title this year, Kroom looks like he has made some significant jumps. He's definitely on the list of placers and those sorts of things, and definitely a name that that looks like he might be headed for the top of the step as well. Top step. All right, Brent.
I have two underclassmen I'm going to mention, and then I'll do my last pick. It amazes me still. Jeremiah Chavez, he's a sophomore. Um,
Crazy.
it's insane. We remember when he was so I guess a seventh grader the first time he qualified, and he's so big, and everybody was like, oh, check out the seventh grader. We had a chance to talk to his dad and met him that weekend. Second day, he did not make weight, um, but has come back the next 2 years with a second and a third place. He is now in Lake Gibson's room. Um, he
Yeah.
is not in 1A anymore. There are no Makos in front of him. Um, so that's someone to watch.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
I'm going
You
to
know,
stay. Go on.
sorry, if we're going to shout out a couple underclassmen, I'd like to shout out Bruce Lee and Adrian Day. I think those are two young men, sophomores that are going to be in some tough weight classes, but we're going to see those two, I think, make a deep run and could pull it off.
Cool.
And I'm going to stay in the same weight class as Jasper Kroom for my next two. I'm just going to mention Brock Dalen, another one, not a senior, junior, has a second and a third place. Has been wrestling forever growing up near Bayshore. That's someone to watch. But I'm going to bring up my other pick, and it's interesting because as a freshman, he reached the state final. And as you were talking about when this all started, you never take positions for granted, and you think, oh, you make the state final as a freshman. And I've talked to so many coaches about this too, where and you don't make it back,
That's right.
for various reasons: injuries, weight classes, bad brackets. Landon Quiroga finished second as a freshman.
Mhm.
He's finished sixth and fourth since. He is in a loaded room with a loaded bunch of guys in around his weight. Comes in this year. I have him fourth heading into the year. Who is he behind? State champ Ethan Tran, Jasper Kroom, and Brock Dalen. And there's also Beckham Zerka in there, Micah Hakita, Cole Webb. I mean, it is 132 right now as it stands, and this is all subject to change. Looks very tough. He could go up to 38, but 38 is even tougher in 1A. But Landon Quiroga, just a guy who wrestles year round. Uh, great family, does all the things right, but you think he was state finalist, and it's so hard to get back, and
Yeah,
now he
dude.
is a
Well,
senior.
shout out to him. I believe he went up to the PNLs this past weekend, which is a big tournament that happened up in Iowa. Well, the PNLs is a league, a prep national league, and he went up with Lake Highland Prep, and I believe he placed, took a medal, won. I forget what place. I saw it mentioned. So
Cool.
that's some tough
And he's
competition up there.
been traveling with Lake Highland and Spartan this summer and getting to work in doing stuff, at Merritt Island also. I mean, just um, tough kid and tough weight class as of right now, but
Yeah.
one
So
shot left.
I'm glad you talked about the nothing promised idea, and it's something that I know coaches kind of, kind of try to keep those kids motivated. I mean, they are motivated to win a state title, but it's a little hard when you look at it and you go, I've taken second at this, here I took second as a freshman or whatever. And that goes right to the story of the last person I'm going to share, and that is Aaron Hartman. And for those of you that don't know, Aaron took second as a seventh or as an eighth grader, I believe it was, in 2010, losing to James Flint at 103 pounds. All right. So then he comes back in 2011 and he loses in the finals at 130 pounds to a Bruno from Brandon. He's wrestling for Palm Harbor. The following year, fifth in 2012 at 145 pounds. Now he's in his junior year, 2013, 150 pound, 2 pounds, and he draws Fox Baldwin in the finals. And then his final year, he took third at 2014 in 2014 at 145 pounds. So, there's plenty of people who have been on the cusp right there of winning a state title. And who is going to push through and make that happen and who won't quite make that happen is always one of the storylines that we watch every single year. So,
and unfortunately, but it is the price of the sport. There'll be broken hearts on Saturday in Kissimmee, and some of them will be even bigger than some of the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I had, I don't know, 15, I had 30 kids written down between all three classifications that we could have talked about, and
oh yeah, there's so many
and
kids, and one
it
of the
was
things
so
I think
hard to kind of drill it down to some overclass. I mean, I did miss a senior that I would have liked us to talk about, in Angel Prieto. I know he's in a tough weight class there
yeah.
with Calais Nazario. He's a senior now and he's placed a few times. But yeah, kids like that are sprinkled all over the place. And, we could probably talk about 40 kids that we think could make a run, but that's not what we're doing.
Well, and the last thing I would say before, we wrap this up, and again, there's, like you said, there's a lot of names that we could mention. There's also individuals who may not be part of this list, and this would be a future deep dive for me, is those individuals who attend the state tournament for the first time and make a run and win a state title. They didn't have any of that experience, and you know what? It happens every year, and I'm sure that might
Yeah.
happen again this year.
Well, I think it's cool. I think right now, obviously, Brant's done a lot of hard work and research to try to get these weight classes correct, doing his previews for the year. But as he goes through these previews and he puts people where coaches say they may be, and coaches are probably completely lying to him because they
Hey, don't be mean
want to
about my
hide.
coaches. My
They want
coaches
to
are
hide them.
great.
They want to hide them in that weight class, right? But however, once we get through week
Those
one,
don't
I
those the
think,
ones that want to hide don't send me any info.
yeah. But I think once we get through week one, we're going to see the shift happen and kind of fall into place. But what I'm curious about is I almost want to print out your first week rankings, right?
Yeah.
And then I want to track like the kids that were the bottom 10, right?
Oh, we're
in
going to
those
do that
things.
this year. We're
And
totally
I
going
want
to do
to
that this year.
see, I want to see if which one of those end up either winning it or
Yeah.
getting up, like
And
making that.
there'll be a couple kids I probably don't even have ranked that win.
So
I haven't been told about them. They're freshmen.
That'll be
They move in. I don't know
yeah.
about them. Jonathan Kohecki last year from the Villages.
Right.
I didn't know who he was until
Right.
second or third week of the year. So there will be some.
It would just be cool to see, like, just first of all, to go to show, yeah, rankings are awesome, and people make this huge deal about them, and they call everybody the rankers and bust their balls. But when it's all said and done, how many people that are not ranked, that are ranked low, end up being a state placer, a state medalist, a state champion? It's crazy, and I think mentally they're going into it going, this shit doesn't matter. I just need to go wrestle.
Well, and the thing is that honestly, the rankings reflect kind of the kids. And I mean, if you've ever been a coach and you've been around 16, 17, 18-year-old young men and women, and we've all seen it, like win, lose, win, lose. I mean, like, like have a 3-2 match with some kid you've beaten by a tech fall previously. You're like, what in the world?
And I think what's great about guys like you guys that do the rankings and everybody else does them is, I had a son that wrestled. I mean, he still wrestles in college, but he thought it was the greatest. I mean, I remember the year that Brant put him at 25. It was the first year he made, or 20, whatever his
20. I think I was still 20.
20.
Then.
Yeah, it was 20. And he broke into the rankings. And I remember him coming out telling me, oh, man, my name is there, right? So I think for the kids, it's such a cool thing. I think sometimes
might be cooler for the dads.
Sometimes the adults maybe put too much. I think the adults obviously do that, but yeah, I think
I would say 99%.
The kids get excited about that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying 99% of the people handle it the way it's supposed to be, and it's supposed.
Absolutely.
Listen, I have daughters and a son. But my daughter has played volleyball. She plays lacrosse now. I like to know when they're playing teams that are good. As a fan, I like to know when somebody is. So if you're a parent, you want to know when your child is wrestling someone who might be ranked, or things about different teams. It is used to inform. I know coaches use it as scouting reports. It is used to entertain. It is used to bring just some extra fun to it. Listen, rankings are mean nothing when things are done, but the point of them is not to necessarily get it right as much as it is to try to have a snapshot of
Right.
what it is. And talking about preseason stuff, I just saw this the other day. In the college football world, Penn State was picked to finish second
That's right.
in the country. They're picked to finish first in the Big Ten. They're like 3-5 or something like that.
Where was
Indiana
Texas? Where
was
was Texas ranked? Where
Yeah,
was
Indiana
Miami
was
ranked?
picked to
Where was
finish fifth in the Big Ten. They're 8-0 or 7-0 and unbeatable.
yeah.
So with preseason rankings, sometimes you get them right, and sometimes we don't, and we'll see how it plays out. I don't necessarily know everything that's happened with every team, so there's going to be some changes, but I do take a lot of pride in mine,
Yeah.
and I think it does add to the fun, and it's
Can
so
And it's
much
can
fun.
fun.
people can
And
can coaches still submit a form? Are you
Oh
still
yeah, they can
taking
still
them?
submit a form. I'm
yeah.
not updating my rankings probably until first week of girls season because
And
all the rankings that came out yesterday are being used in the preview, which is coming out Monday. So if the preview comes out Monday and I'm promoting it all week, I
You're
don't
not going to
want.
change the rankings.
I'm not going to change rankings, even though the rankings don't show up in the preview. I'm just not going to touch it for a week. Let the preview kind of um,
yeah.
take the stage, and then when we start competing again with the girls starting and Seahorse and all that, then they'll pick them back up. I'll pick them back up.
And I would say, guys, please get, inform Brant when you see not just your kids, but when you see other kids. Like there's a lot of people out there that he doesn't see or know about. When my son was actually wrestling and I would go through the season, I'd be in a little tournament in the middle of North Florida somewhere, and I'd see a kid wrestle, and I'd mention, I'd text Brant, "Hey, who's this kid, Joe Wrestler?" He'd be like, "I've been trying to get a hold of the coach all year. I don't know who he is." Right? And this kid ended up making a run. I was like, keep an eye on this kid. So if you're out there and you're at these little tournaments, that really we don't get to see or hear about, sometimes you're going to see a diamond in the rough there. And whether it's your kid or someone else's kid, it'd be cool to shoot Brant the message and say, "Hey, man, there's
a
this
nice
kid."
message.
A
Yeah,
nice message.
Yeah.
there's this kid,
Well,
Stevie Wrestler. Or
Stevie Russell, that's a great wrestler.
gentlemen,
yeah,
it was a good
It
conversation
was.
this week. Uh, you know, uh, it is hard. I will say that it's difficult to you see somebody who gets to the precipice there over and over and over again. I don't root for anyone. I don't, that's not just kind of the way I operate. But you like the stories and you do want to see everybody achieve the goals that they have in front of them. It's up to you guys to make sure that it happens, and best of luck this year. And you know what, if you've got another name that we missed, drop it in the comments, let us know, tell
Yep.
us who else is should we be on our radar and that sort of thing.
yeah,
um
it's been fun.
Brant, we look forward to the preview that is
Yes.
available to everybody.
Everybody.
Okay, so it is free and
Part of
open
the
to
free
everyone
site,
on
open
Monday.
to everyone. All 48 districts will have capsules for every single team. I'll have at least IBT district predictions. I'm trying to make like do a bracket of my dual picks uh, for who to win the districts and regions there. We'll see if I run out of time. I've spoken to 86 coaches. Uh, Last year, I think I talked to 50. So
Woohoo!
it's been amazing. I've learned so much, and I still need to transcribe. I've got them transcribed. I've got still got to get about 20 or 30 of those into capsules, along with everything else. But there'll be predictions. You can look at every team. Be tons of quotes.
So next week when we do a show, guys, and you're looking at us, Dan and I will have changed, and Brant will be in the
I
same
will probably be
shirt
in the same
in the same position.
smell.
with the same
No,
haircut.
I think by Wednesday I'll have time to shower again.
All right, good. All right, guys, you have a great week. I will see you next week, next Wednesday.
Yep.
Yes, sir.